It's time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. It is a Monday morning, a Monday edition of the podcast. We are recording on Monday morning, outside of usually recording the day before Sunday, because we have, at least one guest today that I will, you guys know is coming on, and perhaps later in the program, we might be joined by somebody else. It's going to be a game time decision, but today, guys, today is all about the Rio Hondo Prep football opener this Friday. A lot of high schools open here in Southern California this past Friday, week 0, but Rio Hondo Prep will in fact be opening their season this Friday against the last team they played, the Pasadena Poly Panthers. So longtime rivals. Last time they met was back on April 1st in the Rose Bowl, in an empty Rose Bowl with no fans, a thrilling 8-7 victory for the Cares. Yes, 8-7. That was not a baseball score like the baseball jersey I got wearing here. It still fits kind of a little bit. You know, I had it big back in the day. So anyway, old school jersey here for those not watching on YouTube, in honor of Rio Hondo Prep, my great alma mater, with a big game upcoming this Friday against Pasadena Poly. Now, there is a full schedule set ahead for the Cares here, for all the high school teams here in Southern California, which did not get to play a full season last year. So we're very excited about the season upcoming. And so today we're pretty much dedicated to talking about the upcoming season, previewing what to look for from head coach Mark Carson, who's been on the program many times before. The goal here with Mark, and I'll talk to him about it here shortly, is that we want to do a show weekly with him during the football season, 10, 11 weeks, whatever it is, maybe hopefully longer, right? With a playoff run or two. Anyway, we're going to be joined by Mark on Mondays. And what my vision for this is that listeners out there, for those who, you know, follow the program, if you don't get a chance to watch the game on Friday night, go to the game or see it on Facebook Live or whatever it is, you can at least hear about it here. And even if you do watch the game, we're going to recap it here. This is an opportunity for fans. If anytime, you know, you've wanted to ask a head coach some questions like Nick Saban or whoever, you want to send in questions to Mark Carson, I think he's up for it. Hey, why did you guys punt on 4th and 2 at midfield in the third quarter? Whatever. I'm going to ask Mark these questions. So I think it would be cool, very fan interactive here for the season. Something we're going to try. Didn't get to do it last year because there was no season really. I tried to do some recaps of the games and such, but that is my vision here for this football season. Mondays are a little slow, as you guys are aware, with just kind of me rambling about sports or boxing or something. And I still want to do a little bit of that. When the NFL and the college season starts, I do want to talk a little bit about college and professional football. But it won't be as long as maybe last year. I'll just have a few bullet points, probably after all the Rio Hondo Prep stuff is done in the beginning of the show. So I'll talk with Mark about the previous Friday's game. We'll recap it, what went wrong, what went right. And then after that, we will then look forward to the upcoming opponent for the following Friday. And so that is kind of the plan, the vision. If you guys have ideas, obviously send them my way. But that is what I envision here in the upcoming episodes for the football season, for the high school football season. Anyway, Mark has been gracious enough to say he'll join me most Mondays, I'm sure, if he's available. So that's the plan for now. The Rio Hondo Radio Network, if you will. All kidding aside, we're gonna break down the football season. And it's not that I don't care about the other sports at Rio, baseball or girls volleyball or those things, but I think we can all agree that Rio Hondo football is definitely the backbone of the program, of the school. They do a lot of great things, but football is something I've always done well. Great tradition, many CIF championships, and just consistency, consistent program. So that's the plan for today. Before I get to the interview with Mark, I just want to say something about this weekend, what I saw. First of all, I'm very excited. You see the preseason football. I'm not one to watch it. the NFL preseason stuff, but it is nice to know that, man, the season's right around the corner. College will be opening up on Labor Day. USC has a tough contest against, who is it? I think it's San Jose State, I think is who they open up with, but USC better come ready to play because they did not look sharp last season. Yeah, San Jose State, September 4th. Those Spartans, man, they had a good year last year, I believe, and they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. So USC better be ready to play. The NFL opens up again with Tom Brady against Dak Prescott, the defending Super Bowl champs, against the 5-time Super Bowl champs, and the Dallas Cowboys. Bucks versus Cowboys on I believe that is the 8th. Could be wrong. September. It doesn't matter. Today we're talking Rio Hondo football. But first, I did see some boxing over the weekend. I don't know if you guys did or not, but Manny Pacquiao, all I want to say about him is what a class act, what a great career he's had. 42 years young. Did not look like he's missed a beat at all. Fought Ugas there, the Cuban who had, taken the fight on just 11 days notice because Errol Spence had an eye injury. So congrats to Ugas. But what I want to say about Manny Pacquiao, it's just a class act. I didn't think, first of all, it was a really good fight. For those that didn't see it, really good, really even. And man, it was back and forth really. And then I think in the later rounds, probably 9 through 12 really is when Ugas took control of the fight, eventually won it, unanimous decision, pretty much 8-4, 7-5 on one card, 8-4 on the two others. So I thought it was pretty well judged. And as far as Manny goes, it wasn't that he was too old and he wore down, I thought, towards the end. It was just Ugas is a little bit better than him. And so it was cool hearing Manny Pacquiao talk after the fight about, he's just so gracious in defeat and such a leader to the Filipino people. They're asking him if he's going to be run for president someday in the Philippines. And, he's a politician as well as being a fighter. So one of the greatest we've ever seen in boxing, regardless of, accolades and everything else. Just a class act, a dude that I think a lot of people can learn from, how to carry yourselves the right way, how to compete, how to be intense and fierce. But anyway, I was pulling for him on Saturday night, but Ugas definitely was the better fighter that night. And anyway, I hope, 42 years old. I don't know if it's going to be the end of Manny or not. I can't imagine it would not be, but who knows? I mean, we'll see, but he's got bigger and better things to do, helping out his country and everything, but he's contributed greatly to boxing. So I just wanted to say that briefly. You guys know I'm a big fight fan. And anyway, let's now get into the interview with Mark Carson. I'm going to buzz him in here and we will get things going here. Let's break down the 2021 upcoming high school football season for Rio Hondo Prep, look at their schedule, talk about their team, and also, discuss some big news that actually occurred in the program last week. So let me cut this off here and we'll come right back with Mr. Mark Carson, the head football coach of Rio Hondo Prep. Okay, I'm joined by head football coach Mark Carson from Rio Hondo Prep, once again making an appearance here on the Get Home Safe podcast. Mark Carson, good morning. Welcome back to the show.
Morning, Matt. Great to be back on. Like your new setup here, and especially the RHP jersey. What is that like? Circa 2003 baseball, or what is that?
03 baseball. This might have been 2001. You know when I was wearing this, Mark, of when we were playing Campbell Hall on those JV games, and you always had a burger for the Campbell Hall baseball coach who loved our big leaguers and stuff. Remember those?
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
And yeah. We had a little JV rivalry with those guys. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's way back when. If it still fits, so I'm I'm happy
good.
about
that's
that.
Impressive. Yeah. That's impressive.
Anyway, Mark, we're gonna try something new this year. Last year wasn't much of a season, 3 games. I talked to you throughout the fall and then even in the spring a little bit. We eventually did have a season, but the plan for this year is to have you on Monday mornings, talk briefly about what happened on Friday night, and then also preview the upcoming game for the following Friday night. So are you up for this task, for this challenge to have to answer to the media on a weekly basis?
Yeah, a little media scrum to start the week. Yeah, I like it. It'll make sure I study up and know what I'm talking about going into the week. So
yeah. Hey, study your cliches, have those all ready, right? We're just trying to get better one day at a time, all that stuff.
Right.
But no, I'll try to keep this just for fun, right? Of course. And I told the audience, basically, this is an opportunity for them for RHP football to be talked about throughout the season, whether you're at the game, whether you're at the game or not, you attended or you saw it on Facebook. And this is also a place I'm going to encourage listeners and fans out there. If you have questions or challenges for Coach Carson, be sure to email me. I can read those to him on the program here. Why'd you go for it on 4th down in the first quarter? Anything you guys want. Hey, great call in the 3rd quarter. It can be complimentary as well, but I want some interaction here. Mark, what do you think?
That's cool. Yeah, glad we have a form now that we can do this. So it's good. I think it's good.
Outstanding.
For now, we'll see.
for now, yes, yeah. Right. I've had many ideas that are not so good and some that are good. So we'll see what happens here. But Mark, big news for the program. You guys start your season like normal in August here, August 27th, this Friday. You open against Pasadena Poly, the last team you played back in the Rose Bowl in April. How excited are the kids to be starting football on time this year?
Yeah, the kids are amped. They're obviously for them, it's been a 1.5 year long ordeal of on again, off again. You can play, you can't, and all that is behind us. And we're playing, and we're gonna play our longtime rival in Poly. It's not a league game or for league championship like I think it has been. I think we played for the league championship like 19 of the last 20 years or something. This game has meant league championship. And so there's no playoff spot on the line or anything like that, like there usually is. But it's still a great rivalry and a great game. And it's something that both schools wanted to make sure we made happen this year. And it happened to be in week 1 where we could play it. So
I think it's a great time of the year to have it if you can't play in league time. What a great way to open the season with the rival. Some colleges do that, trying to think who used to open the season that way. You'd see these in-state matchups, right?
Yeah, or you'll get the big, preseason games with maybe 2 Power 5 teams who are really good and kind of hype it up and you'll do. I know, yeah. So it's kind of like got that kind of feel.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a great idea. Now, you guys last played in the Rose Bowl. So where can fans find the game this year? Is the Coliseum or is it in SoFi? Where's the game going to be Friday night?
We're playing at Care Park. Not quite the capacity of SoFi or the Rose Bowl, but hopefully we'll have more fans than we did at the Rose Bowl. Yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. The Rose Bowl was just awesome, man. A great experience. Yeah. I don't think you envisioned an 8-7 victory, but a victory nonetheless.
Right. And we'll always take it. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, the relationship you have with Coach Schmoke, tell me about it a little bit or kind of reiterate about it, because I think both he and you understand their tradition of this rivalry. It's a respectful rivalry. We'll call it that, but you guys appreciate the history of it and want to keep this thing going, even though you guys aren't in the same league anymore.
Right. That was a priority when we knew we couldn't keep the prep league together, was that both he and I and both schools said we got to keep this rivalry going. Great rivalry. It's definitely respectful. But that doesn't mean it's any less intense than a normal rivalry. And so both schools want to win that game, and your season can go one way or the other, good or bad. But if you won that Poly game, it's something you can hang your hat off for the year. So that's really cool. And I think they feel the same way. And I think it brings out the best, as far as preparation and the intensity of the game and the crowds and all that. So it's a fun game to have and fun game to start the week. And like I said, we wanted to make sure we kept this game on our schedule.
Definitely. Care Park will be rocking Friday night, I hope. And back to football in the fall, right? As it should be.
Right.
And, if you could briefly tell us about the direction you and Poly each went, the league kind of you guys decided to join, and the league they went, why this rivalry is no longer a league game.
Yeah. So it was kind of scramble mode when we got to the point of, our league couldn't, it was us and Poly with a traditional prep league with Flint Ridge Prep, Chadwick Webb, went defunct about 10 something years ago. And then us and Poly have always been members, and then we've added on schools, and probably I don't know, 6 to 10 different schools have rotated in as part of the prep league just to keep the league alive. And that finally fell through when I think those other schools got tired of kind of losing to both of us, and they went elsewhere. And so we were kind of left hanging. You can't have a two school league. You got to have at least 4 teams. And so we were kind of scrambling, and we went to try to go together somewhere, but no one wanted both of us. And so we were kind of both left to kind of fend for ourselves for football. We're still in the same league in all the other sports, but for football, we're left to fend for ourselves. And so we got on with the Gold Coast League, which includes Campbell Hall, Viewpoint, Brentwood, also Sierra Canyon and Paraclete. I'll get to that in a second. And then Poly got on with the Rio Hondo League, which is local, kind of second-tier public schools as far as power rankings go, except for Monrovia, but Temple City, La Cañada, who else is in that league? San Marino.
Did you say Arcadia or no?
No, Arcadia is not.
They're not. They're
so
something else. That's right.
Yeah, they're there. They're the Pacific League still.
Pacific. That's right.
Mirror and Carson Valley, and so that league, I think Monrovia is going to be a challenge for Poly, or as they would for us. I think other than that, I think they will do very well against those teams. Our league, we think, is solid. Haven't played these schools. We've played these schools off and on throughout the years, and so we kind of know what their programs are like. Paraclete and Sierra Canyon are, I think, divisions 1 and 2 respectively, and so kind of the league has set up with the smaller schools not playing those schools in football, and so those schools take the first 2 playoff berths. In a 6-team league, you get 3 spots, and so that means the 4 of us are battling out for that final spot. And so it'll be for all the marbles those last 4 weeks of the season, as far as because only one of us will qualify for playoffs.
So 4 teams: Campbell Hall, Brentwood, Viewpoint, and yourselves are the 4 teams that are going to be competing for 1 playoff spot. So basically, if you go 3-0, you're in. But unfortunately, 1 loss could knock you out altogether.
Yep. And then you have to go to the playoff thing and draw straws, or I don't even know how we do it, but
wow.
In this league, but yeah, you don't want to leave it to that. So hopefully we don't leave it to that.
Well, I like that there's some old foes going up against each other, right? Brentwood, Rio used to play back in 8-man quite a bit. Campbell Hall, of course, Rio won its first CIF championship at 11-man against Campbell Hall, my brother's team in 05. So there's some history here. I kind of like.
There's a little tradition in history.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And you throw Poly in the mix at the beginning of the year. That's really cool. So let's look at the schedule, Mark. I got it in front of me here. I got to tell you this. The bus won't have to use too much gas this year. You only fill it up probably once, I think. One long trip down to Temecula, and then other than that, you go to Brentwood, and it looks like you go to Bosco Tech, which is just up the road.
In Rosemead,
yeah. So let's go. Week 1, we know this Friday against Pasadena Poly, at home against Care Park. Week 2 is interesting. You go to Linfield Christian, again, a team with history with Rio, beat Rio in a CAF final at Covina District Field, a muddy game not too long ago. And they are coached by Deshaun Burns, who's been on this podcast, former college coach of Landon Goodwill. So were you and him talking to kind of get that game together?
Yeah, it's one of those things. We CIF has a website where you put games wanted, and I saw them on there, so I called Coach Burns, and we talked it out. And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And so we set that up. So it'll be a fun game for that Labor Day weekend. People could go to the game, and you're halfway to San Diego, or whatever you want to do down there, you can stay down. And so I think it'll be a fun game for us. But yeah, not a lot of travel. I'm not sure if that was luck or just, something that we kind of did. I mean, we did it intentionally, obviously, but we got 6 home games. It's how the schedule worked out. And it is nice because we think we have a good team to kind of showcase. And so our home fans won't have to travel a lot. But long travel games in general, with budgets as they are, you want to try to limit it as much as you can. That, it's expensive to travel, and we make money at home games. And so we'd rather have home games. And it'll obviously flip a little bit next year, but I think if we do it right and get enough 1-year contracts, then we can always have, at least 5 home games, if not, 6 or whatever. So
yeah, no, 5 and 4 or 4 and 5, like that's pretty fair if you guys play the 9-game season versus the 10. But 6 home, you got double home games than you do away games. I don't know how you work that, but good for you. One of the longtime rivals you guys have played almost every year is Boron. They are coming to Rio Hondo this year in week 3 for you guys. So kind of a rivalry that's been going a long time, right?
Yeah, I've had some great games with Boron, and they're always hard, hard-nosed kids, kind of, coming with a chip on their shoulder out from the high desert. And so always a fun game to play, good test, and healthy respect for them and their program and what they do. So it's always been a fun game, and they never back down from playing us, and they've had opportunities to do so, joining the central section and all that, but they said they still wanted to play. And so we kind of honor that and say, so we'll keep playing them and going out there every other year. So,
it's fun. I mean, it's a pain getting up there, I know, but if there's something to do, road trips are good. They're good for kids and teams to experience, because when you get in the playoffs, you never know where you might end up. So it's a good rehearsal. Exactly.
Good rehearsal for when you might, know where you're going to go in the playoffs. And the guys like it, especially getting out of school early.
Oh, yeah.
Stop to eat halfway up. And the guys aren't complaining. I'm not sure how much the fans and parents like it, but even the parents, I think they kind of get a kick out of it. Hey, I'm going to leave work early.
Absolutely. Outstanding. Well, you make up for that. Obviously that game's home, so you don't have to travel. They do. But then week 4, Temple City is on the schedule. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you guys have played them before.
Never played them. And that was a replacement game for Morningside High School, who we had set up a home game and had confirmed. And then about, I don't know, when was that? Early July, get a text from their AD saying, we're not playing that game. And I said, what? We just confirmed it. And we confirmed it twice, actually. And he says, I'm just the messenger. I got the message from my principal that we're not playing Rio Hondo Prep. And that was it. And so I was like, okay, thanks. And so mid-July, we were able to scramble a little bit and find that game. Temple City had an opening, and obviously local and home or away. That's not a travel game. We're actually from campus. It might be closer, a closer drive for a lot of our fans to get to Temple City than even Care Park. So, but we're playing in that at home. So that'll be interesting. Have no idea how they're going to be. We'll see. And, you can't really tell that stuff till you like to do the max preps score comparison, but that really doesn't work till about a month into the season.
No.
Who's good and who's not. So we'll see.
Yeah. And, you guys have not been, you guys have that Fresno State, Boise State kind of attitude. You'll kind of play anybody anywhere. And, you guys have not been afraid the past, 5, even 10 years to play local public schools. So I'm glad to see this one on the schedule at Temple City. You guys, of course, beat Arcadia years back, have competed with La Cañada and schools of that nature. I'm trying to remember them all, but
Arroyo 2019, we played Arroyo at home.
Arroyo. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys, that was more of a scrimmage, the way you guys treated Arroyo. Those poor Knights, they couldn't even get the ball past midfield, Mark. You took it to Arroyo that night. So
that was a good night. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I did notice there wasn't a second game scheduled with them. I don't know why that was.
Yeah. I was kind of they were good with that. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe down the road, we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I like the local schools playing. Obviously, it's good for exposure to the program, and to, I used to have to explain hey, Rio Hondo Prep. Yeah, it's the small school in Arcadia. Now a lot of people know when I say Rio Hondo Prep, they know who the program is, especially during football season. Okay. Late September, week 5, I believe you have a bye. So kind of nice, right in almost the middle there. And then you have a matinee with Bosco Tech at their place in Rosemead.
Yep. Our bye week is our science camp week. The kids travel out. And so I think maybe in your day, Matt, we actually tried to play a game when we got back on those Fridays or something like that. And it was always rough. And so especially with, we don't have a huge roster this year. And one of the reasons we're not playing a game that week and only playing 9 and not 10 is just trying to keep our guys healthy and kind of be judicious about our schedule. And so, and that's one reason we're playing Bosco Tech as well. We don't think that's a game we're going to get beat up in. They have a new coaching staff, and I think they're trying to build something over there. But a good game coming off our bye week before kind of our critical games at the end of the year.
No, that's very intelligent scheduling there, Coach Carson. Okay, real quick, while it's on my mind, why on earth is science camp during football season every year? Could someone explain this to me? Why could we get in basketball or base? I mean, why during football season?
That's a great question. I mean, I think you like traveling in the fall. One of our groups goes to Arizona, and if you were to wait till the winter, it could be kind of cold out at the Grand Canyon and all that, and so forth. And so try to do it while the weather's still nice, because a lot of it is outdoors. And so that's probably the main reason. And it's actually not the end of the world. It kind of gives our guys a little break, bodies recover a little bit, and then they come back ready to go. But right, as the football coach, if I had my druthers, I would say, yeah, let's do it during, how about December? Or, And so, yeah, but
that's funny.
It is what it is. You got to kind of just roll with it.
I remember we used to try to play a game after no practice all week, and you're in the mountains, at Care or wherever. And sure, it sounds like, oh yeah, nope, just go play a game. But no, I mean, we had a game where we were super sick. Remember the throw? Yeah, we were all sick playing Grace Brethren as JVs. That's Mark. Do you remember this? That is when.
Yeah, I remember it.
You have me without me telling it. I was quarterback. He said, we're going to do a quick kick. Matt, just shotgun, hike it, Matt, punt it. And it sounds easy enough. I could do that. And I kicked the ball about 2 yards. Maybe it went even backwards. And I think your famous last words were, that's the last time I ever call something that we've never practiced before.
Right. And I learned from that. I think at least it didn't get blocked. Yeah. I think that was your main concern. Don't get it blocked, but it didn't go anywhere. So yeah, it turns out we would have been better just running a play. But coaching lesson learned. If we haven't practiced it, we're not doing it. So
you'd think you'd think that would make sense, right? But yeah, what's the big deal? Go punt the ball. Quick kick.
Punt the ball. Be an athlete. Go punt it. But yeah,
I think I saw someone coming, and so I shorted my leg, and I barely got it. Oh, it was so embarrassing.
Oh, that was a nightmare though, and it was hot out there, and it was. Yeah, you guys were all sick, throwing up, and it was just a mess.
We all got like food poisoning at a Chili's in like Flagstaff or something, and then we tried to play a football game. We won. We kept the streak alive.
The game. Yeah, got the dub, but it's you're not. The physical part, and then just mentally, you're just not. Takes a lot to kind of gear up for a game. Football's not a sport you can just show up and play.
No. Needs preparation, physical, and it's good to have a rest too. There, like I said, it's good to just have the bye week and then come back strong, rest the body. Okay, so then we go into league play after the Bosco Tech game. I mean, man, you'll be home early on a Saturday night after hopefully a victory there against Bosco. But so October is really when the schedule. I wouldn't say means something, but it does. It means more because it's league play with only one playoff spot. We're on the gauntlet here, just kind of weeks 7 through 10. Campbell Hall home, Brentwood away, and then Rancho Christian home, a non-league game there. And then you end the season against Viewpoint home. So 3 out of the 4 home, 3 out of the 4 are league games. Where did Rancho Christian come into the mix? And what are your thoughts about the whole league play there?
Yeah, so league, we played Viewpoint last year. That was the only team we played. It was kind of a thing that was cobbled together late when we were told, you can play some games, and so we were able to get Poly, and then we wanted to play for sure, and then 2 more games, Trinity and Viewpoint. Did very well against them, but I don't think you can take a lot from that because no one had their normal full prep, even though we're on the same, we both had the same amount of prep and same amount of time, but our guys were kind of itching to play, and I think we kind of took it to them. But Viewpoint, I think, will be solid. Brentwood is probably going to be the big game, especially on the road. As far as that's what we think early on, at least. Again, you can't really know until about your month in, but that'll be the game that determines league championship. And then Rancho's going to be a tough game, and you see their schedule. They got a pretty loaded schedule. We're one of them, and and they'll probably be looking at that game as a way to boost their playoff resume and so forth. And so that'll be a good game. No, never played them before. We think it'll be a really good game. And then we finish with Viewpoint. We finished with Viewpoint. Camel Hall's first, right?
Yeah.
And we finished with Viewpoint at home. And so we think it sets up nice for us. The key will be, staying healthy. And I think when we can do that, we'll be in good shape to hopefully get that playoff spot. And then we'll see where we land. As you know, the CIF playoff divisions don't come out until, I guess, midway through the year, or toward the end of the year. So you won't know where you're at. So we don't know what division we're in.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's how it is. So it's this is a new thing for everybody. And so it's supposed to be your power ranking for this season, nothing to do with the past 2 years or anything. And so we have no idea. The only thing we could base it on was 2019. They ran a simulation of where you would have been, and we would have been Division 7 based on who we played and our record. And so we don't know, is it better to lose games? Is it we don't know what it means. And so it's just crazy. And they say still enrollment has zero factor and where you get placed, which we think for the sport of football is nuts. For basketball, any other sport, it doesn't matter. But football, when we're suiting up 23 guys and you play a team that suits up 70, rotating in different, offensive line, defensive line, it matters. And so we think it's crazy, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Sounds like a good way to get somebody hurt, honestly. CIF, you don't have to say in comments. I will say the CIF is just out of control. That's ridiculous. Just so people are aware, so there's 13 divisions in football, and
14 now.
There are 14. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, so spread it out a little bit. And you guys, and your enrollment is less than 100.
Yep.
Less than 100, and you're going to put a school like that in Division 7. Because they win games. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I'll move on from that, but good luck to you, Mark. Good luck to you.
Maybe you can have Commissioner Wygott on sometime and have him explain it.
Oh, that'd be fun. I could hammer him. That'd be fun. Yeah.
I mean, the thing that we try to use is you want to do it in wrestling. They don't do it in boxing. You can be a really good lightweight fighter, okay, but you aren't going to go against a heavyweight, right? And it's kind of a similar thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we do really well, but there's certain physical aspects of the game where the size, number of players, and the size of the players kind of matters. And so, and we could go hang with these schools, and we do, but to try to put it together, a 4-week thing and a playoff run is next to impossible. And you see all these small schools either drop to 8-man or drop the sport. And it's like, guys, your CIF is literally killing the sport at small schools. And so
they're trying. Yeah, it seems like it. And then you get, by having this format, you could potentially have very bad teams who are rewarded and are bad football teams that are making a run in playoffs at Division 13 and 14 and such.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to qualify. So you still got to finish, 1, 2, or 3 in your league. But that's what was happening, not necessarily bad teams that season, but bad programs. And so a big public school who has a couple down years was getting placed in Division 13, 14.
Interesting.
And then all of a sudden they have a good year, they make a run, and then they're in the same playoffs as us. Or when programs with 3,000 kids are winning Division 14, I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. But
no, brutal.
So we'll see. I mean, we talk about it and complain about it a little bit, but when it comes to the day, we just throw our hands up. There's nothing we can do. We just you got to
look at it as an opportunity, Mark. You look at it as an opportunity for exposure to maybe slay a Goliath somewhere. Just try to be positive.
And I think it would, last year was our first time we ever won a playoff game for 2019, outside of the CIS lowest division. And, that was an accomplishment. Or actually 2018, we did that. And so, which was cool, and it's nice, feather in your cap, and you feel nice, feel good about that. But there's nothing like making a run, man, like making a run in the playoffs. And so, we hope we can, do that. And I think this year's group, we stay healthy, we can. But, some of it's out of our hands. And so,
control what you can control, man. That's all you can do.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, Mark, let's talk about the roster. You lost some great seniors last year, as you often do. That's just the nature of the beast here. First off, let's talk about some big news. from last week with arguably your best player, one of the best players in all of San Gabriel Valley, really. I'll let you talk about that here now.
Yeah, so our junior defensive line fullback, Brian McCullough, received a offer from Colorado, CU of the Pac-12, which is awesome for him. And they had seen film and talked to us about him and so forth. And obviously his transcripts are good and all that. That all checked out. Size, his measurables check out, right? And they wanted to be the first to offer him. And so they made it a point to have him call them, right? And make that offer. And so we're very excited for Ryan. It's great for him and great for the program. You know, not a lot of schools in the San Gabriel Valley have guys getting Pac-12 offers. So it's really cool. And the guy's put in a ton of work. He's a great teammate, great leader. And so we're excited for him.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's played as a freshman. He, as a sophomore this last year, not only had the game-winning run on the 2-point conversion, but then also blocked the potentially game-winning field goal. He's an all-around player. And yeah, not too many guys get a big-time offer like this before they even take a snap as a junior.
Right. So it's really cool. And
outstanding.
I think it'll set up well for him that he'll have a nice selection of schools when that time comes to where he's going to further his education and go play college ball. So
yeah, hopefully
really cool.
First of many offers here upcoming for him.
Right.
That is big for the program. Rio's seen a lot of great players and athletes go through. And so this is kind of unprecedented to have an offer this early, we'll say.
Right. It is. And we're very happy for him and hope it's a sign of things to come. And I think it's just a sign to those Care Youth League kids and the other kids out there who always say, oh, you know, if I go to Rio, will I get offered? And it's like, oh, here you go. You know, and it's something that, you know, we can say, we haven't had a lot of them, you know, but it's something we could say. And so, yeah, it's great for Ryan and it's great for the program.
Absolutely. Well, he's definitely your best player, I would say. You have some other talent around it. Now someone like me is always interested in the quarterback position, of course. Jack Van Cleve has graduated, the 3-year starter. So let's start right there. Who are we looking at quarterback? Is it still up in the air here, or who's going to be the quarterback for the Cares on Friday night?
Yeah, Jack was a 2-year starter.
Oh, 2-year.
Yeah, he was tight end his sophomore year, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so our Damian Diaz, our senior, is starting. It's kind of come down to a two-man battle between him and a sophomore, Armando Carbajal. And they both are great players. Both have strengths, both have, you know, weaknesses. And we think we can't go wrong with either one, but we're going with the senior to start. But definitely Armando will get reps. And we like it because it kind of puts pressure on both guys to keep working. And so we're happy where we're at though with that, and the offense has been looking good, and we're still, you know, going to be a run-oriented offense. That hasn't changed. Even when we had a guy who could sling it like Jack has the last 2 years, but we're still going to be run-oriented offense, and that's you know, we think our strength is our O-line, and then our two guys in the backfield, McCullough, who we've already mentioned, and of course our returner Jonathan Guerrero, who you know is a phenomenal player.
Mm-hmm.
Averaging like 10 plus yards a carry, you know, just in his career. It's just, he's only gotten better. And so we're looking forward to unleashing those guys next week or Friday and as the season progresses.
Yeah, McCullough and Guerrero standing next to each other is pretty funny to see. You know, one guy's super tall, one guy's really short, and Guerrero, pound for pound, man, one of the best football players I've ever seen. And yeah, he's back for his senior year, hungry and ready to go. Just a speedster. I don't know how he does it, Mark. I say it every time. He runs between the tackles. He breaks it outside. He does it all, man. He's a complete back, even though he's, you know, 5'5" or whatever he is.
Yeah. 5'5", 145, maybe 150. You know, he's bulked up a little bit, but definitely the complete back. He'll block, executes his fakes, and catch the ball. And of course, everyone sees what he does with the ball in his hands. And it just goes to the point we've talked about, I think, before about football. If it's for all shapes and sizes, right? And if you're willing to go out there and mix it up and put it on the line for your teammates, then you can contribute. You can be big, you can be small, you can be fat, you can be skinny. It's all about just that, really what's inside of you. And if you're going to go out there and let it rip and not be afraid and play tough, then you can contribute on the football field. And that's kind of the essence of RHP, right? We get all shapes and sizes, and it might not always look like the prototypical team, but we'll get it done, with those guys. And so they're like an extreme example of that.
Oh, definitely.
But great, both awesome football players.
Yeah, the running attack will be alive and well, I'm sure, but I can't do it without the guys up front. You mentioned them. Talk to me about the offensive and defensive line. It's quite often the same guys at Rio, but it's all about depth and health. So what can you tell me about your guys up front?
Yeah, so senior dominated line as well. Paul Lena, Royal Young, Jaden Sanchez, Ray Montez, those four, and then our tight end, or the fifth guy will probably be Colby Johnson with his brother playing tight end on the line, Calvin, right next to him. And so, and then we have a couple of guys waiting in the wings to rotate, but those 5-6 guys will be our main guys, and pretty much all of them are playing both ways. And so, we got to train for endurance at Rio, just like you do for, like if you were a soccer player, or cross country player, you got to train for endurance as well as the agility and the explosiveness that's necessary for the sport. So those guys are gonna be really tested. They're probably gonna go home Friday nights exhausted, wake up Saturday mornings very sore, but we can relate with that, and they're gonna be okay, and they're ready for it.
Outstanding. Yeah. See, I like the senior driven group there. As you mentioned, that's important. A few years ago, you had a really good offensive line, defensive line too, but very senior driven. So that's good to know. A lot of those names have played a lot of snaps for you up front over the years.
Right. And so they're seasoned, they're ready to go. And I think they're taking it as, hey, it's our time. And they want to show everybody what they can do.
Oh, big time. Well, we are excited for that. And what about the kicking game? I mean, it's Rio always seems to excel in that, whether it's punts or field goals. It's kind of the lost art, right? Teams put it aside, but special forces are important here. How we looking there?
We're solid. We're solid. We don't have the boomers maybe we've had in the past, who can put it in the end zone every time, which is always nice. And so we got to be, we got to be a little more creative with that and be smart where we're kicking the ball off. But we're solid there. And yeah, special teams are always placed in a high priority at Rio. I think it's 1 in 6 plays are part of the kicking game. And so when you think about it that way, it's something that you got to put time into. And so we want to make our returns dangerous. We want teams to be afraid to kick off to us and punt to us. And then our coverage teams and all that, we want to be solid and make sure we're buttoned down there and not giving up any big plays.
Oh, absolutely. The kicking game is important in the sense of, it's it either controls field position or it leads to big explosive plays. So it's usually one or the other. So you better be solid there. So that's really important. I mean, everything, it's not just kicking, it's the snapping, it's the holding, it's containing. It's all the little things that I think Rio definitely tries to take advantage of, whereas other schools kind of take those snaps off, it seems like at times.
Yeah, I think so.
What was I going to add? Oh, Mark. So I know you're very, I don't know how to say it. You're very strategic. You always have a kind of a theme for your season. Maybe there's carryover, but what is your theme for this season with this group of guys?
So it's 3 words. BTD is the initials, and that stands for brotherhood, toughness, and discipline. And 3 things that I think are cornerstones, if you will, of the RHP football, and that with this group in particular, I think was important to emphasize brotherhood, and that they're going to have to play very hard for each other, and knowing that we don't have a lot of depth. Toughness kind of goes into that as well. And then just the discipline was something with this group we thought we needed to work on. And so we threw that in, but it's always been a pillar of RHP football, disciplined football. And so we thought coming off, it was partly because of the COVID mini season, we were a little sloppy in things. And so we wanted to focus on that with this group. And so pretty much anything you talk about in life or anything you can tie into one of those 3 words. And so it's something that we use when we're talking to our guys pre-practice or in meetings, kind of tie everything in.
I love it, man. That's great. You always have something good, and short and simple is always quality. Guys can remember it, carry it with them in everything they do. So just more of the proud RHP tradition.
Try not to do more than 3, because anything more than that, they just.
I know.
So.
I'm not even a high school kid anymore. I can't deal with more than 3 things. That's that's absolutely right.
Keep it simple, man. Yep.
Keep it simple. There it is. The 3 more words. K-I-S. But Mark, I know you guys are excited. I mean, real quick, with the season not happening last year, what are, without getting too much into it, what are the policies this year? Is testing required for players or coaches or anything like that happening at the high school level this year?
No, as of right now. Okay. Yeah. So, we'll see what changes. We think we trust kind of our families, and their kids to know what's right to do. And so, because requiring a vaccine or no, I think most of our kids have had it, but we aren't mandating it because we think that's a private issue and they should be able to decide on their own. And facts are, kids don't die from COVID. And so I think of the 300 deaths nationwide of young people, which is not good of anything, right? But they all had pre-existing conditions and so forth. But that is such a small, minuscule percentage to keep kids from playing for something like that. That's not dangerous at all to them. It's just, in our view, just silly. And you compare that to maybe the suicide numbers are in the same time, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
And that's inflicted by us as the adults, kind of causing that. And so we want to just make sure we're smart about it. We got to be respectful, of people who, so if you want to wear a mask, hey, you can wear a mask, and we're not going to say anything and all that. But right now, that's where we're at. So, and outdoors, I think it's every bit of evidence is pointed to outdoors being completely safe, and you don't have to worry about that.
No, that's very well said. Parents' responsibility for their kids are in great hands, and I think the students are in great hands with the administration and coaches there at Rio Hondo Prep as well. So it sounds like you guys are gearing up and ready to go, excited for this whole thing. Man, that's good to hear. Good to hear football is back. Fall time here. I mean, this is great. So
I was excited to see, you're on social media, or you see last week we didn't play, right, but just everyone was going and stands were full, kids were playing. It was great. And so as football fans, right, not just fans of RHP, but football fans in general, we love seeing that. And college football is about to kick off, NFL, and it's just gives you a sense of normalcy. And I think it's been a long time coming, and so
absolutely, man.
Very happy about all that.
The Friday Night Lights, and for those who have not gotten out to a game at Care Park, it's a few miles from campus, from Rio Hondo. It's actually closer towards the east, where a lot of members are from, Care Youth League. So that's nice. Yeah. But a great venue, great setting, especially with the sun setting and the Santa Fe Dam right there. And I mean, great place to watch a high school football game, even if you're not affiliated with the school. So this Friday night, Mark, against Pasadena Poly, Care Park, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Yep. Get there early, sports fans. And Mark, in closing, I mean, you're ready, not just for this season, but as I mentioned earlier, having you on weekly, a quick little, I like the fact that we're going to talk Mondays, not, Saturday. If it's a tough loss or there's a bad call by a referee or something, you get a little while to cool down.
Right. It's a little cool off time. And I appreciate that time to digest what just happened and prepare for the next week. So.
Absolutely, man. Well, Mark, you and I go back a ways and had a lot of visions for RHP football and things. And I think this is kind of an interesting way that we kind of still can connect about the program and just talk RHP football, man, and build the program. So you're doing a great job, man. I'm looking forward to this every week.
I appreciate it, and appreciate you doing that on our behalf. And go Rio.
Go Rio, man. A charge to keep. Let's get it going. Guys, everyone, if you don't get a chance to go to the game or tune in on Facebook Live, we're going to be talking RHP Football Weekly here on Mondays with Mark Carson. So thanks again, Mark. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good week.
Thanks again, Mark Carson, for joining me on the program today. Looking forward to chatting with him again next week after hopefully a Rio Hondo victory, but we shall see. They got a very tough opponent in Pasadena Poly, who is looking to avenge last season's loss that occurred only a few months ago. But we will be back on Mondays with Mark Carson talking about the game from Friday night against Pasadena Poly, and again, looking forward and previewing the upcoming game against Linfield Christian, an away game down in Temecula, Labor Day weekend, against head coach Deshaun Burns, who has been on this program before. We'll see if he's available maybe to chat with us. But we do have a special guest today that was not announced, but I wanted to make this happen, and he was gracious enough to join us, or to agree to come on the program. So today we're going to be joined briefly by head football coach of Pasadena Poly, Chris Schmoke. He's coming on the program here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the program, his program, Pasadena Poly, as well as the rivalry between Poly and Rio. So greatly appreciate him taking the time out of his very busy schedule to sit down with me for a few minutes. So let's get right to it. First, we had on head coach Mark Carson of Rio Hondo Prep. Now let's get right to it, and a brief conversation with head football coach Chris Schmoke from Pasadena Poly. Okay, right now I have the privilege of being joined by Coach Chris Schmoke of Pasadena Poly. Coach Schmoke, I know you're a very busy man. Thank you for setting aside a few minutes for us here at the Get Home Safe podcast to talk about the Rio versus Poly upcoming game this Friday.
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. I've actually listened to your podcast on numerous occasions. So I'm, and in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I'd really like to be on that podcast sometime when you're talking Rio Hondo football.
Oh man!
So thanks so much for having me.
Oh, that is awesome to hear. You're a fan. Awesome. Oh man, I see people in this crazy world we live in where no one can get along. Rio and Poly people can get along. Nothing, that's great. Great to hear.
That's my goal. I had my oldest son actually played in the Care Youth League, and my second son had his heart set to play in the youth league as well. But then they canceled the 7th and 8th grade team his year. So we're big fans of the Care Youth League. We're big fans of Rio Hondo Prep football. We would love to see Rio Hondo go 9-1 every year.
Well said. Absolutely. No. And I wish you nothing but luck, in your season, of course, except Friday, all kidding aside, but that's awesome to hear. I've talked to Mark Carson a lot about you, just the relationship you two have running these two programs. And I am just so happy that someone like you is at the helm of the Pasadena Poly football program, because I think you understand the history, the rivalry here, and you and Mark obviously are, I'll call you guys friends. I mean, talk to me.
So I would,
yeah,
I would describe us as friends. So
yeah, talk to me about the relationship with Mark and this rivalry with Rio Hondo Prep.
For sure. This is actually my 15th year at Poly. And when I first came, my first year, Poly was coming off of a 2006 year where they won the league. And so I in my mind, I know our previous head coach, Brendan, who's also a very good friend of mine and was also a very good friend of Mark's, described it as that, Rio was our football rival. Rio was our football rival. And then I think for the next 7 years I was at Poly, Rio just kicked the crap out of us year in and year out. And it didn't seem to be much of a rivalry, even to the point where then I really started studying Rio and looking back at all of the success the program had over the years.
Okay, sorry for that brief technical difficulties. Okay, Chris, you were talking about the program?
Yeah, we'd spent a lot of years not being very successful against Rio, and we had people in our community who thought that we should not be playing Rio anymore. And when I became the head coach here, I said, this is exactly who we should be playing. They're a like school. It's a great natural rivalry. And actually, when I took over as head coach, we based a lot of kind of where we wanted to go on Rio, on what Rio does with their kids, what they do with their program, and all the success that they have. So we've been able to make it a little bit more competitive, certainly, I think, over the last 7 years. it's always a game that I think is great for both communities, because I think the kids play super hard on the field, and it's the game that they want to win more than any other game of the year. But then they have the ability after the game to recognize we're all part of a bigger community and show mutual respect. And you're not going to have the cheap shots and just the silliness that sometimes has pushed itself into high school football. So we love to play Rio. We always know it's going to be a really tough game. We always know it's going to be a competitive game. But I really love to play Rio because I really think that Rio Hondo does things the right way. They treat kids the right way. They treat families the right way. And they're always prepared, and they're excellent football coaches and great kids. So we're thrilled to be a part of a rivalry and to kind of have another school to do that with. So
I think it's fantastic, and it's something that's kind of been lost art in high school sports with these rivalries. And you're right. I think Rio brings out the best in you guys, and you guys bring the best out in Rio. It's just, that's how it should be. And maybe there's a little trash talk here and there, but overall, it's just at the end of the game, hey man, great game. Maybe we'll get you next time, type of thing.
Absolutely. One of my most favorite things is, with all the ups and downs of last year, and we only got to play one game, and it got postponed for 2 weeks and everything else, but was being able to play that game, and it was ugly, and it looked like two teams who didn't have a lot of other games going on, but after the game, it's in my office. One of my very favorite pictures that I'll probably have forever is the picture of both teams together, intertwined, arms around each other after the game. And I think that really gets to what we're doing, is that football is a vehicle to, help young boys become young men, and doing things the right way. And I know Mark feels that way, and the whole, Mark's whole family and Ken's whole family. And it's just a great group of men, and boys need that in their lives. And so I'm always thrilled with sharing success. So, when Ryan got his first offer, we were, from Colorado, we're cheering right along with it. Like that's great for everybody. And we're real proud of him, and real proud of the success that Rio's had as well.
Oh man. Well, like I said, I kind of have this old bitterness towards Poly a little bit, because back in my senior year, we went 11-man. First time we had played Poly in many years, and they had great success in that year, or for a while there. In 2002, we played them. They had Ryan Black was the best player on that team, and we actually beat Poly. We beat Poly in the regular season, and then it was a bummer because Poly went on to win the championship, ended up beating the team that beat us in the playoffs. So it was like, but at the same time, in a weird way, you're like, okay, good for them, good for the prep league.
Yeah, it's good for small school football when Rio and Poly are good and competitive, and that I think it's good for everybody.
What do you make now? You and Mark tried to keep this together a long time. The schools have had to go their separate ways in football to different leagues. I mean, is that disappointing? You're still going to play each other. So that's, I think, needs to continue, but is it disappointing? You guys are kind of going opposite directions in league play.
It is. And I look at it as a 1-year thing. And I'm very hopeful that next year that we're able to, develop a small school league. And we've talked for a long time, the small school coaches, on how we can stick together and support each other with numbers up and down and all the things going on. And so I'm hoping it's a 1-year thing, because that it's going to be a little bit weird playing Rio week 2 for us in their opening game this year. I would much prefer it being the last game of the year, because that's always something that you kind of shoot for, and you put on the calendar and you circle it in red, but anything that we can do to continue to compete against each other and keep that relationship going, to me, is very, very important.
Oh, that's outstanding. Speaking of the season opener, who'd you guys play last week, and how'd it go?
Okay, we played Savannah High School, which is one of the Anaheim public schools down there. And it was a good game. It was a competitive game. We ended up winning 34-14. But they were very, very, very big. Their offensive and defensive lines were with no exaggeration, 260 to 325 pounds kids. So we had to kind of figure out how to contend with that and do our thing. But, ever since I really have studied Rio Hondo football almost to a maniacal level. And Mark will tell you, I call it the Rio Hondo voodoo. And I'm most often referring to the offense, but defensively as well. And so we try to kind of have our own voodoo. It's different than Rio's voodoo for sure. But when teams play Rio or play a Poly and it's not a year-to-year thing, it is an advantage to us. And just like it's an advantage to Rio, because people aren't used to, seeing number 33 line up in the offensive tackle position. And they're not used to a team really trying to hit the edges like we do. So there's some advantages to doing what we do. But all those advantages kind of go out the window in the Rio Poly thing, because I think both teams have a really good idea of what the other is going to do. And it just becomes kind of a chess match and a battle of wills, I guess, across the board. So, which is fun. That's how it should be.
Yeah, the Rio Hondo voodoo. That's hilarious. I tell Mark all the time. You look at the Rio Hondo offense. I'm like, I don't know how it works. I understand it, but I don't understand how it is successful. It makes no sense. But to your point, it's something that other teams never see, so it's tough to prepare for in 5 days.
That's exactly right. It's the little things. With Rio, you don't see a lot of two-back offenses anymore. You certainly don't see a lot of the shifts and the unbalance that Rio does. And I'm telling you, those guys do a fantastic job of coaching their kids up on 8 million ways that they can down block and kick. When we first got here, the first thing we noticed is the quick tosses that they do to hit the outside and how fast those hit and how great their kids were at crack blocking. And if you combine that in with just the little things, the hard counts on PAT and field goal, which we do now also. So just it's the little things, trying to make you prepare for our rugby style. They make you prepare for so many things that you really gotta try to boil it down with what do they do best. And then they flip it up on you. So it's a lot of fun as a coach, because, I think all of us are used to seeing just people line up with 4 or 5 wide and sling the ball all over.
Yeah, there's kind of this old school feel to it, with just the running game execution and everything. And then defensively, I mean, they run this 3-3-5, you don't see 3 down linemen anymore, but it fits their personnel well, because it's a lot of hybrid type of players, and you mentioned the lines you faced last week. You guys are going into a new league, very public school heavy, right? And so football's all about depth. And I don't know how many guys you suit up, but a lot of these public schools being able to suit up more players means guys are fresher,
Certainly we got to try to be in tremendous shape, and it is, that we have, I think, 40 kids who will suit up, this week, hopefully, because you get a couple kids out and you're in a mark. But I think that's fairly common for small schools. I know, Rio's fighting that. I know that Brentwood is fighting that. I know that Webb is fighting that. So a lot of those traditional prep league schools, it's something that we struggle with, and the way that CIF is kind of made us move around, it is not advantageous for any of us. And trying to find those
Okay, Coach Schmoke has moved into the library, so hopefully the technical issues are better now. We're working our way back in to that Wi-Fi. No, I mean, it was getting a little scrambled there, but yeah, the small school prep league type of teams, they've had their disadvantages, we'll say. And I'm just glad I'm proud to say this. Pasadena Poly is you guys have really you've kept the commitment level, I think, whereas I'm not going to call it other schools specifically, but you guys have kept athletics important. You kept playing 11-man football. You stayed playing prep league football. And so much respect in that regard, because other schools have kind of gone their other way. And you guys you guys aren't afraid to play local public schools either.
No, we're trying, I'll never forget, in Rio, it was one of the CIF championship years, and they had scheduled Arcadia and early in the year and beat Arcadia. And it was before I was the head coach. And we just thought that was the greatest thing ever. I think we even went to the game because we were playing so many Saturday games and stuff like that in the afternoon. We had to go there. We were just like, it was the first time I was like, this is our arch rival that we want to beat more than anybody. And I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them getting that chip, because I think everybody got to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to keep driving and be successful. And certainly at a place like Polytechnic School, there's not a whole lot of places to find chips. We got it pretty good. Our kids have it pretty good. But it's easy in football to look at the kind of disrespect that sometimes we feel a Rio or a Poly gets, of like, oh, they're just, small school. And certainly we're not recruiting big kids or bringing in transfers every year or doing any of that stuff. But what we hope that we're doing, and what I know is happening at Rio, is that we're coaching them and loving them up and seeing that pays dividends in the long run.
No, and I've been around a lot of different football programs as a football official for many years, and so you see what works, what doesn't work. You see the programs that truly do care and are trying to build character and just teach the game the right way. So it's so refreshing to see. Obviously, I have affiliation with the Rio, but the Poly program is in great hands, and you've done a great job with them. You had a nice little streak against Rio there for a while, right? Each school has its own little winning streaks against each other, which I know is important. Coach Schmoke, where did you get your coaching? How did you end up at Poly? What was kind of your coaching path?
Yeah, I attended Northern Michigan University and played football. My first year out, I was at a school in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan called Ishpeming High School, with a bunch of kids who were their parents were literally miners and loggers. So these are some tough kids, and it was a great experience. I went to a public school called Petoskey High School in northern Lower Michigan, which is a bigger public school, and coached there for 11 years. Had a great experience. And then my wife and I got sick of the cold. We didn't even know schools like Poly existed. We were both public school kids, public school teachers, all the way across the board. I grew up in a very different environment than Poly. So when I got here, I thought it was like the Emerald City. I couldn't believe the class sizes. I couldn't believe in Michigan, the only private schools in our time were the parochial schools. So this was a whole different ball game, and it was actually kind of uncomfortable for me of trying to learn it. I found out that probably my upbringing would have made me much more likely to be at a Rio Hondo than a Poly. But there's great kids and great families. It really helped me to kind of see kids are kids, rich kids, poor kids, in between kids are kids. And when you treat them with respect, you treat their families with respect, and they know that you care about them and they know that you love them. They will do a tremendous amount for the team and for the program. And so, our philosophy is really based on the kid, and hopefully getting them to buy into the team part of that and make it an experience that they can lean back on and say, that was tough and we made it through. I wish I could say that winning wasn't important to me, because at the core of my philosophy is that it's all about the preparation and doing the right thing. But I still got that dog in me during games that comes out, and it makes it really, a big deal. But I hope that is not the center of anything that we do as a program.
No, that's outstanding stuff. I got to ask you, it's weird playing Rio week 2 for you guys.
Yeah.
Is there anything you tell your players or prepare your players the week of the Rio game, things you tell them or prepare them for differently than you would any other week?
Well, certainly. I mean, just from a strategic point of view, everything Rio does is very different than pretty much anybody else we play. So preparing for them offensively and defensively, and the familiarity of years and years and years of competing. And certainly we changed some things offensively when I became the head coach. But I can tell you, Dave and Ken and the whole coaching staff, they know exactly what we're going to do on Friday. And I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do on Friday. So then we talk to them about what about rivalries and going about it the best way, and you fight like crazy. But we also talk about the respect. We don't ever, and I won't mention names, but there have been times we faced programs and that maybe we didn't have the kind of respect for. So with Rio, it all comes from a place of respect. And like I said, my eldest son, who's going to be a senior this year, played in the Care Youth League. So we're really connected. I feel like my family especially is very connected to Rio. So it's important for us to play the best we can but also to conduct ourselves the right way.
Well, Coach, that's great stuff. But I mean, come on, be honest with us. You had your kid in Care Youth League, so you can sneak down there and watch a few practices maybe from time to time. Come on, I see right through it, Coach Schmoke. Come on, you're not going to fool me.
Strategically, that would be great, but I have 4 kids, and getting them back and forth to Irwindale is not an easy thing. And really, when I looked at tackle football at the middle school level, you start and you have kids, you start to ask yourself, who are the men that I want around my kids? And those are the men I wanted around my kids, because we don't have a middle school program. And I purposefully did not go to any practices. I purposefully just went to games and did recognize a lot of the stuff. But over 15 years, I have more Rio film than probably anybody except for Ken and Mark. And I've probably watched more Rio film than anybody other than maybe Ken and Mark. I spend my Februaries and Marches sometimes just going through my Rio library and watching plays and remembering, whoever was number 29 that year or 5 and recognizing that. I'm excited to see, who that next guy is going to be for Rio. And we know, jumping into this year, we know that there's some returning guys. I already spoke about Ryan, but you talk about Gio and you talk about number 5 there.
Jonathan Guerrero.
Jonathan, thank you, Jonathan. And they're pretty special kids, and that line coming back. So we're always very, very aware of try to be very, very aware of what's going on at Rio.
It's very consistent. The offense, nothing really changes, just maybe the jersey numbers. I mean, it's the same plays, the same kids. I mean, okay, they got an undersized kid doing spectacular things here. This guy, playing multiple positions. So anyway, I did get a question here from Mark Carson for you, Coach Schmoke. Yeah. I recorded with him earlier today. This will all be on one podcast. It'll be kind of fun. But very serious here. Mark Carson said, do you have any questions for Coach Schmoke? He said, yeah. What's their first play call? So right here on the podcast, I promise this will, it's just
more than likely it'll be Rocket. Although, we really thought last year, boy, we're really going to go in, and we looked at some stuff, and we thought we were really going to get some stuff throwing the ball, and they had watched our scrimmage and really prepared. Like I should know by now that Mark will do. Whatever it is, we're just going to have to out execute them, or they're going to have to out execute us, because I don't think there's a lot of questions of what each team is going to do.
There's no real surprises. I mean, you could try to
No.
install something, but it seems like both teams are always ready for each other.
Yeah, they'll power toss. They're gonna hit us off tackle and then go wide and try to sneak some guys out of the backfield. They know we're going to be running man coverage. And that's what's really fun. And it's really fun. Mark and I had the opportunity last year after the game because we made a video. I made a video for both sets of kids from Poly and from Rio. And Mark and I actually went back and I recorded us calling the game. And it was just such a great experience. And so I love watching film with anybody who will nerd out with me and watch film. And that was really special to me, was Mark and I just sitting, watching a game that we had just played and talking about the plays and everything else. So I'll re-listen to that 3 or 4 times this week too, to see if I can cull anything that he said.
any advantage. Well, I got to say that the game at the Rose Bowl last year was really awesome. I was so glad you guys got to put that together. I would love to see it happen again in the future. I know this year's game is in Irwindale, but I mean, what are the thoughts on playing in the Rose Bowl and maybe seeing that again in the future?
Yeah, we have a pretty good connection at the Rose Bowl. One of our former coaches and current Poly parent is the I don't know what he runs the Rose Bowl. And we couldn't get it this year, but we were hopeful because we also have somebody with a connection to the Coliseum. We were really close on getting this game in the Coliseum, and it didn't happen. But anything we can do, and Steve, our AD, always asks me, if we get these opportunities, what game do you want? I'm like, you already know it's Rio. And they asked me like, well, are you sure you want Rio, or do you want somebody who you're more likely to, get the for sure win? And for me, that's the greatest thing. I mean, if we could play Rio 10 times a year, I would do it, because I just think it's 2 evenly matched teams, 2 evenly matched programs. And more importantly, it's kids and a staff that does things the right way, or at least the right way in my perspective with kids.
Very well said. God bless you for those. Yeah. A lot of people, I'll schedule a cupcake and roll over them. That's no fun. The rivalry, being in a cool environment like the Rose Bowl, the Coliseum, would be outstanding. I hope we see that in the very near future. A couple things to kind of wrap up here, Coach. First of all, if you had to sum up your identity with the Poly, what is the Pasadena Poly identity, their foundation? What is it that, for people that don't know about the inside of the program, what is it that you promote on a daily basis with your team, and kind of what your identity is?
Yeah. Well, every email that I send, every correspondence with the kids and the parents and everything else. And I didn't come up with this. I stole it from Lou Holtz, and I love it, is do the right thing, give 100%, and love each other. And we talk about those things at length, and they seem very coach speak. And we talk about, does everybody do those 3 things? And the answer inevitably is no, not everybody does those 3 things. And we talk about why not. And when you get down to it, those 3 things are hard. And so it's being willing to do the hard things for something that is fundamentally right and bigger than yourself. So I think it all starts there. It all starts in being good students, and coaches talk about it, and it's great for podcasts or newspapers and stuff like that. But then, are we doing that on the field? Are people in our community seeing us doing that? And I think that's the start. And I think that's really where we get the buy-in for a school like us, and people allowing their kids to play football, is that they feel like they're in hands of people who care about them, who love them, and who aren't afraid to say, hey man, I love you, which is weird when you go, well, that guy that's a typical, he's got yellow glasses and long hair, and he's talking about love. What kind of football coach is this? But it's something we really believe in, and our staff believes in, and our community believes in. So we're going to do that. And like I say all the time, I hope at Poly and at Rio, people go, yeah, those might be 180-pound kids or 170, 65-pound guard. But that 165-pound guard from Rio is going to hit you with all 165 pounds every time. He's going to get up every time. You might play a kid from a different school who's 250 pounds, but only hits you with 125 pounds and who isn't going to get up every time. I've showed over and over. There was a play in last year's game where we had a break that I thought was going to score on a power, and Jonathan Guerrero got knocked down on the play, and Jonathan Guerrero got back up from the opposite side of the field and chased that play down and was a part of saving a touchdown. And we talked about, we want people, when they see your film, to point you out like we are Jonathan right now. And that's what we know we're going to get with Rio. And that's what we hope people know they're always going to get from Poly.
No, very well said. I every Poly team I've ever watched, there's never a question that they are not playing hard and that they are playing smart. And so that kind of is a constant in the program. And I know you continue to do a good job with that. I think if people were honest and they looked at rivalries in the San Gabriel Valley, I think Pasadena Poly versus Rio Hondo Prep is one of the best rivalries in Southern California. I wish, and San Gabriel Valley, I wish other people kind of, bought into it, came out and watched it a time or two to see. But your final thoughts on, you kind of went into it there, but just your final remarks on the rivalry that is Rio versus Poly.
It's, when I look at scheduling, it is the most important thing for us to schedule every year. Because I think it's important on a million levels. For this particular game, it's always a different cast of kids, but it's always Rio Poly. And I hope that both teams come out and execute their very best and get after it. And we'll let the cards fall where they may. But I can guarantee one thing after the game, that both communities are going to shake hands like, and I know this is an antiquated statement, going to shake hands like men and show respect for each other. And we're all going to be better for having played this game.
Very well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Coach Schmoke, this has been an absolute pleasure. I mean this all seriousness. We got to have you back on to do one of our long form interviews to talk about your program, your coaching and everything. I mean, that would be an absolute blast. So hopefully we can do that in the near future.
Matthew, for over a year, I've been listening and wanting to come on, but I thought that seems very forward of me to call up, get a hold of Matthew and say, hey, have me on. I did mention it to Mark at one point, like, hey, if you ever, want some Poly perspective, I would love to come on. So anytime. Okay. I really enjoy you. I really enjoy the friendships and the relationships at Rio, and I really enjoy the rivalry. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Oh man, absolutely. Anytime. And hey, good luck after Friday. Good luck the rest of the season. After Friday, you know what I mean?
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real.
Come on. Yeah. This has been fun building up the game this week. Yeah. It's going to be a blast. I don't think it's going to be 8-7 this year. I could be wrong, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. You never know. That's the great thing about this game is you just never know.
Never know. All righty. Well, Rio and Poly fans, you know where the game is Friday night, 7:00, Care Park in Irwindale. Thanks again, Coach Schmoke.
Thank you, man.
Well, all I can say is, wow, I am so fired up right now. I wish I could be at this game on Friday night. I'm so jacked up and ready to go. Rio Hondo Prep versus Pasadena Poly. Cannot wait. I'll try to watch it on Facebook or Huddle maybe afterwards and try to hide the notifications so I don't know the score and try to watch it with interest like I don't know what happened. But a big thank you to head coach Mark Carson from Rio Hondo Prep and, of course, head coach Chris Schmoke from Pasadena Poly. We are definitely going to have him back on the program here down the road to talk some football, talk about his program and just his coaching journey at great length. Very awesome to hear that he's a listener of the program, man. You just never know. Running this podcast has been great and just so awesome. So I can't thank everybody enough who continues to support the Get Home Safe podcast, the official show, we'll say, of Rio Hondo Prep football. And building up the game this Friday against Pasadena Poly. Hope everyone will tune in, whether it's on social media or if you can get out to the game. Man, it's going to be a great contest indeed, like it usually is. So I'll say best of luck to both schools. I can say that, I guess, in all seriousness. So Coach Schmoke was excellent. He and I had never talked before, and that was really, really a lot of fun. So guys, I'm ready for the week. Wednesday and Friday we'll have shows as well, but it's going to be tough to top this one. Wednesday, of course, is Bill Barnes. He's here weekly. And Friday, we're going to be joined by Rod Bazuzzi. a Rio Hondo Prep alum and current Huntington Beach police officer. So be sure to tune into that on Friday. Maybe as a buildup for the game Friday night at Care Park in Irwindale between Pasadena Poly and Rio Hondo Prep. One of the best rivalries in all of Southern California. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did in putting it out there. And guys, thank you so much for the support. You know where to follow us, but let me repeat, as always, there's many places to follow the Get Home Safe podcast. You can listen to us on pretty much any platform. And then we have this YouTube channel we've been doing the past few months. Do me a favor. We would love it if you guys subscribe to the podcast and give us a like any video you can. If you do like it, I'm not begging for likes, but if you like it, give us a like. Some comments are great. They're always appreciated. It helps our podcast grow and keeps the exposure going. So hopefully you guys have already done that, but if you haven't already, or if you're new to the podcast, welcome to Get Home Safe. And I hope you will continue to join us with our conversations and topics here. Mondays, it's going to be for the next few weeks here with Mark Carson, recapping Friday's game and looking forward to the next game. Wednesdays, my good friend Bill Barnes, a retired police officer. And on Fridays is a new guest with a long form interview. That's kind of the schedule and the plan for those who don't know. But for those who've been loyal listeners, you know what to expect. We're going to try to keep things exciting here and loose and just bring you good content on a weekly basis. So I'm ready for the game. Let's kick this thing off. Hope everyone has a great rest of their week. But guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or round in third base, get home safe.